complete.
Hello everyone, my name is Nico Bree and welcome back to the channel. So this video is going to be slightly different. I'm not going to be designing anything crazy. So in this video, I'm going to go over my SketchUp Windows setup, all the toolbars and stuff that I use, as well as one of my favorite extensions and how I think it will help you with designing your spacecraft. And I'm also going to go over 2 more tips that I use when adding detail to my models. So without further ado, let's get into the toolbars. So for the newer viewers that don't know about this, if you go to View and in Toolbars, this will display all the toolbars that you have in your SketchUp program. Now mine is going to look a little bit different than yours because I have an amalgam of extensions currently, but amongst the ones that are there, the ones that I use the most are the standard, the styles, the views, warehouse. The shadows and section toolbars I rarely use. They're very scenario based, so I use them on a case by case basis, basically. And usually when I'm designing buildings or cities like Intervita, I will use these toolbars, but otherwise I don't really typically use them. So it's up to you if you want to use them or not. The measurements is a heavy one that I use, as well as the large tool set. Getting started is a good one, as well as the extension warehouse. Dynamic components is another iffy one that you can have if you want to. If you find utilization by it, by all means use it. And like I said before, you know, the extensions and stuff that I have, and the best one that I think I've ever used would be the Fredo corner toolbar. So let's get into the toolbar itself. So my favorite extension is the Fredo corner toolbar, and you can go to Sketchucation and download their extension manager in the extension store, and you can search through all of their wonderful extensions, and you can find the Fredo 6 tools and the Fredo corner tool as well. And when you download and install that, this will give you this toolbar here. And this has been one of the most helpful toolbars I've ever had in this program, aside from the rendering ones, because those actually make my ships and stuff look cool. So with the corner toolbar, you can select all of these lines and just apply the corners, the beveled corners here. Or you can do the same for rounded edges. And you can do the same thing for corners, though I don't use this typically. You can just select a corner of your geometry and voila. So this toolbar, like I said, has been so helpful, and you'll typically see me using it like this, where I'll just get the bevel, I'll type in a measurement, click OK, and then I'll click generate geometry, and voila, that's how I do that. Instead of having to do this, where I select the center point or midpoint, use the angle tool or the automatic angle feature that SketchUp comes with, and then do the same thing and do that. Even though you'll see me do that a lot when I'm dealing with just like simple surfaces and stuff like that, whenever I'm actually dealing with actual shapes and stuff, I typically, if I remember, because sometimes I get too wrapped up in the moment to even notice that I still have the toolbar, but if I can help it, I will apply the toolbar and the tool sets here, and it'll help me clear up a lot of time and add a lot more detail in a more efficient manner. The next tip that I want to lay on you guys is the offset rise and lower tip that I've talked about, especially in my support ship series that I've just finished recently. And by doing that, you just create a shape and use the offset tool, and I'm just going to go ahead and offset this by half, or excuse me, not half, by 0.5. Oh, yeah, that's half. Duh. And what I'll do is I'll select the surface, or double click the surface, whichever one works for you. Then I'll select the move tool. I will press Alt, and I will raise this up, or I can lower it. And that creates the epic detailing that you see on a lot of my models. So the next little tip is you can use that same principle of selecting a surface, but instead you can select a line. You can do the same thing by pressing Alt and moving it in every which way that you want. But in the typical sense, when I'm designing, is I'll pull it to this line here, and then I'll just clean it up, and voila! And that's how you can add some more detail to your spacecraft. Now, with this little small tip series here, I only covered, like I said, about maybe 2-3 tips here. If you see processes and ideas that I didn't cover, or you would like me to cover, definitely leave them in the comment section, and I will definitely try and address those, either in a separate video like this, or I will go and address the tip usage in actual practice when I'm actually designing a model, which I'm coming up with right now, actually. So stay tuned for that. Without further ado, this is the end of this video. I want to thank everyone who came out and watched, and hopefully this helps you with your SketchUp endeavors and helping you with your modeling. And until next time, guys.